Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Molnar here. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather Tropical Edition. Tropical storm Philippe is still with us here. This system is going to have impacts along the U.S. East Coast and eventually New Brunswick and Nova Scotia, especially as we head on into this weekend. Later this week, this weekend, and early next week, we'll get into all the details on who could be impacted and a big pattern change coming to North America. Let's get into it. And here is Philippe. Yeah, this system has been doing a number here on the Leeward Islands. Plenty of rainfall. Look at this. All the way down the Lesser Antilles. Even Trinidad and Tobago getting some clouds here, some rain showers. This is quite a bit of rainfall. Look at this explosion of showers and thunderstorms. Yeah, this system's going to be heading towards the north. And I wanted to make a quick mention. I am in the process of trying to figure out why my mic is so muffled. I know some of you brought that up last video, so hopefully I can fix that shortly. Lots of audio adjustments and replacements. All right, so we're starting off with the European model here. Let's take a look as we look at Philippe. Yes, moving through the Leeward Islands here, continuing on into Tuesday night into Wednesday. Finally starting to move away by Thursday here. So we're going to continue. There is the tropical storm force winds you can see moving across the Leeward Islands here. You can see, look at the expanse of these winds. So it is a growing system. This system's going to head north here. Here it is October 5th as we head on into your Thursday. Here's the U.S. East Coast. There's that big blocking high to the north. Watch what happens as this system shuffles off to the north. It targets... Looks like Bermuda here is a moderate tropical storm, but it is going to pack a punch because it is going to be a very large circulation here. So it's got a lot of wind and wave action and heavy rainfall with it. Now, it looks like we start to split off almost into two different systems here. Look what's going on here across the East Coast as well. You have our next system moving in, which is going to help push it a little bit to the west, along with this high pressure out here that's really blocking the system from going anywhere northeastward here. So watch this as we continue in time here. It's going to get very wet. I hate to say it. There it is, October 7th, right in time for Saturday afternoon. Our next system moving into the northeast, and look what starts to wind up here. Philippe likely becoming an extratropical system by 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. It's possible this could continue to shift towards the west, towards eastern New England. But here's the center of circulation here coming into the Gulf of Maine, 5 a.m. And look at that, racing ashore right into this model. Run has it right into eastern Maine and extreme western Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, especially here. Take a look at that. So a lot of wind and wave action coming ashore here. So the state of Maine all the way down into eastern parts of New England here. And look at that big moisture plume heading right into Nova Scotia and New Brunswick and northern Maine during this time. That's 11 a.m. Sunday morning. As you can see, that system winds up and combines forces with a massive low-pressure system over eastern Canada here. Behind Philippe, we're looking at a lot of rainfall here across the Caribbean here. You can see Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Central America as well. And we're going to be talking about this feature here. Look at this. This is the Eastern Pacific. We could be looking at a hurricane here. As we go in time, here's October 8th, the 9th. Let's just zoom out just a tad here. This is likely the Eastern Pacific picking up. Could this be that crossover system that I was talking about this last video segment? Look at this. So another potential system coming towards the western Mexican coastline, part of our Arta area, and look at here into the western Gulf. Could we be looking at a tropical system by then? And look at the surge of tropical moisture and the Cape Verde season here by October 13th, Friday the 13th. It's not over yet. And I wanted to show you something else that could actually come out of this as well. Look at this. This is October 9th. So is what's left of Philippe up here in eastern Canada. Look at this surge of moisture here from these keys of Florida, Cuba, all the way up to Bermuda here. There could be another tropical system trying to form eastern Bermuda out here right around October 12th. And look at that forming into... This looks like it could either be a massive extratropical low, maybe tropical and transitioning to extratropical. You have two low pressure systems here, but this looks like it could be a massive storm here over the North Atlantic. So here's our GFS run Philippe. This is our big story. Yeah, you notice we're starting out high pressure here across the east. Watch what happens here. Philippe just kind of skips towards the north. Yeah, we're still dealing with it Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning here. Even some showers picking up here around Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, the rest of the Leeward Islands. You got buffeted quite a bit here. Plenty of rainfall and wind. But look how quickly the GFS pushes this towards the north. Actually, a little bit west of guidance on this model run. That's a bit troubling here. Look at this. So this is right around the 7th. So here's our area of low pressure. You can see here's the eastern coastline of New England here. There is our center of circulation. There's Cape Cod. So this kind of puts it in perspective. The trend has been further west, bringing this into the Gulf of Maine by Saturday evening at 8 p.m. So the GFS is quicker here. There is landfall, 2 a.m., several hours earlier, it looks like, on Sunday morning, right into eastern Maine. So by this time, it's going to be extratropical, but at this point, you're still dealing with a rather large extratropical or subtropical system. And it's combining forces with this low pressure over Montreal to the west. So you know this weekend is not going to be very nice here across the northeast. Look at that. That's going to be quite a low pressure system winding up, and we're going to be dealing with this for quite some time. Now the rest of the tropics, let's see, there's that big slug of moisture coming across the Gulf of Mexico here. That is from some thunderstorms in the plains. And then as we continue off the U.S. East Coast for October 14th, look at this big old mess. This is an actual low-pressure system coming off the East Coast that could actually wind up as well. So this is shaping up to be a very active time of it here. We could be looking at several tropical or even extratropical systems as we go in time. Now here across the Eastern Pacific, look at this. Here we go. We're winding up this system that could potentially become our next hurricane. Here's October 9th. The resort towns of South Mexico here better watch out here, because look at this. Just east of Acapulco, right here, this is looking like a massive blob. This GFS brings this as a remnant low back out over to the Western Gulf, but really doesn't do too much with it other than bring moisture here to the southeast, which you do need the rainfall. That's some good news. But there it is across the rest of the Eastern Pacific. Yeah, we're going to be taking a look. Tropical storm Lydia here. It's not going to be a threat to any land, though it possibly will become a hurricane. But yeah, the rest of the tropics, you see here what's going on. This is another area of big low pressure that looks more synoptic, but you got to watch this. See this area of low pressure on the south end of it? I do want to make note, this is out to October 19th, so a lot can change between now and then. So our HWRF hurricane model here, right east of Puerto Rico as we head on into the rest of your Wednesday here. Look at that. Quite a smattering of showers and thunderstorms as we head through Wednesday morning, October 4th. This system winding up and moving to the north, finally accelerating here. It's going to be moving in the general direction of Bermuda as we head on into Thursday and Friday here. Take a look at this. Yeah. So the center just moving just west of Bermuda. Now it's going to be on a rampage here to the north as this system passes between the East Coast. Look at this. What's going on here? The GFS and the European were kind of indicating something similar, that there'd be like a spin-off low or something. This is something we're going to have to keep an eye on here. It can happen when these systems start to transition extratropical. But you see the HWRF hurricane model trending much further to the west as well, bringing some heavy rain here into parts of New England. So watch out for that into Maine as well, New Hampshire, especially coastal areas. And there it is, landfall. This one's also in eastern Maine. Still, you'd be on the eastern side of it here in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. So here we go again. More storminess. Almost a repeat of Lee here, only thankfully this system is a bit weaker than Lee. Still a rather large circulation, however. So as we get into the Caribbean here, look at this. So yeah, as we get through the weekend and early next week, it's mostly dry, Jamaica, Cayman Islands, until the middle to latter portion of next week. We get into October 5th and 6th. Look at the heavy rain developing here, upwards of 30 to 50 millimeters, 1.5 to 2 inches likely. That kind of tapers off until we get a little bit more towards Monday, October 9th. Look what starts to blast here. we got tremendous tropical moisture coming from the Pacific. Also, another wave coming in from the east and southeast here. We got upwards of 80 to maybe 100 millimeters of rain. That's 3 to 4 inches. And here we go. We get into the eastern Caribbean. Yeah, that's what's left, or at least going to be left, of the outer bands of Philippe as it moves to the north here. Look at the Leeward Islands here. At least another 100, maybe as much as 175 millimeters. We're going to see additional rainfall on the order of 5 to 6, maybe 7 or 8 inches of rain. That is crazy. Still some showers here, Trinidad, Tobago, as we head towards the weekend, late this week into the weekend. You're looking at anywhere outside of Philippe's bands, anywhere from 40 to 60 millimeters, probably about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. All right, so liquid equivalent precipitation amounts there into Texas. You need this rain. Look at that, 1.5, 2.5 inches of rain, locally higher to 3 inches. This is the GFS, by the way. Look what it does across the Northeast. This is a bit troubling. Most of this is back with the trough that combines forces with Philippe. And then, yeah, we're looking at a solid 2 to 4 inches with locally higher amounts to 5 inches. Let's take a look at the European. All right, so the latest European liquid equivalents here, you can see really piling up there across parts of Texas, 3 to 4 inches, especially north central, northeastern, and eastern Texas there. Look at here across New England, parts of the Northeast. As we get into the weekend, into early next week, I am sorry to say, but things are not looking good up here. Look at this. You need this rain in Canada, but this is a lot of rain as well. 2.5 up to 4.5, maybe locally higher inches of rain here. And let's zoom in here to the Northeast. Look at this. So this is the first frontal passage. You see, Ohio doesn't get a whole lot. It redevelops here east. I still think most areas will see a half to, 3/4 of an inch in a lot of these areas. Ohio, a little bit less, maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch. But look what happens as we expand eastward throughout the day. This is Saturday into Sunday. We're looking at a just miserable day up here across the Northeast. And this is mostly late Saturday night, Sunday into early Monday. Look at this. Depending on where this biggest, heaviest band sets up, a couple of these bands stand a chance to bring some 3, 4, maybe 5+ inches of rain. Some of these areas here I'm really concerned about because these are some of the areas that you just saw some flooding last week. So taking a look at the Western Pacific here, what is going on here? We have a typhoon. Koinu here. This system is going to continue towards the west. It looks like at this point it's going to target especially southern Taiwan. It is going to weaken. That's some good news. Still going to be a typhoon, but by the time it gets to South China here, it does affect southern Taiwan by October 5th here, so early Thursday morning, and then eventually towards China here towards October 7th and the 8th, time for the weekend. Lots of flooding rains. That's going to be the deal. We could be looking at another system, potentially tropical. We'll have to keep an eye on it here in the southern part of Japan, but it does look like a very weak system until it starts to combine forces with a synoptic low, and this could actually be a massive blasting area of low pressure here in the North Pacific as it heads towards the Aleutian Islands into the Gulf, right up here towards Alaska. Look at this. This is going to be a massive area of low pressure. Now, is there any typhoons or tropical storms behind that? It doesn't really look like it, except for this little area, October 7th. You see the Philippines kind of clearing out nicely here. This area of low pressure could threaten the northern Philippines or Taiwan as we head towards October 10th. So that's something we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on here, as it looks like we could have potentially a system, a tropical storm. It might actually be a typhoon. Look at that. It looks pretty wound up at this point, but something that we need to keep an eye on because it is still pretty far out here, October 11th. All right, so let's take a look at our HRRR future radar here. So here's what we got going on. We got a big old smattering of big-time thunderstorms across the plains. Those are going to start to accelerate eastward here. It's actually looking really nice. Enjoy it here across the east with summer-like weather because you have Philippe on the way along with this big trough to the north that's going to combine forces. Now, as we head into 9 a.m., on Wednesday, this is where things really start to get trouble-like here. Let's just back this up. There it is, 4 a.m. by 8 a.m. as you're, getting off to work and school, look what starts to develop here across northeast and eastern Texas. A big old line of very strong showers and thunderstorms. Some could be severe, damaging wind, large hail, isolated tornado potential. And we're going to be in the thick of this. Look at this. This actually starts to branch to the north as we head on into 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Look at the big smattering of supercells here across West Texas here into Oklahoma. This could be very concerning. We could be looking at a big severe weather event here heading on into the evening hours. Look at this. This is going to be converging on Dallas-Fort Worth area. We could be looking at damaging wind, large hail, isolated tornadoes. A distinct possibility here as we get this big air mass coming in off the Rocky Mountains and the plateau out here. And look at that. 3 a.m. on Thursday morning. This is going to be quite a complex. Mesoscale convective complex moving through Dallas-Fort Worth around between 10 and 11 Wednesday evening. And look at how this pushes to the south. Potential bow echo wind damage pretty significant here as we head during the early morning hours of Thursday. And that pushes towards the Gulf Coast as we head towards noon on Thursday. Now look what's happening up here into parts of the Ohio Valley into the northeast. This front is making a push to the east as we head throughout the rest of your Thursday afternoon. So we could be looking at some increased shower and at least cloudiness here into Cleveland and Columbus, even up towards Buffalo and Ottawa, Canada, and could be looking at some late day showers and thunderstorms as we head across the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley. So getting into the synoptic view of the biggest weather event of this week. It's going to be the latter portion of this week, especially into Saturday. So here we go. High pressure cresting across the east. It's not until about the 5th and 6th we get that frontal push towards the east. It's going to move right into, there it is, that area of low pressure moving up towards the St. Lawrence Valley. This all gets cranking on Saturday. Yeah, isn't that nice and convenient just in time for the weekend? Blasting, winding up here, and forms into a mega low pressure system. Yeah, clearing out nicely behind it, but unfortunately up here in the northeast, you're going to have to deal with a very windy and wet weekend as we have extratropical, potentially subtropical, becoming extratropical Philippe combined forces with this area of low pressure. And look how it winds up over Ontario here and Quebec, just looking like a really nasty time of it, especially as we head into early next week. And as we continue, that's just going to continue across eastern Canada. It does retrograde back. Look at, we still have tropical moisture funneling up here into eastern parts of Nova Scotia and eventually Newfoundland here. But finally, some high pressure builds in across the eastern part of the United States. And our next system here across Canada and Western Canada as we get that trough kind of pushing up here towards parts of Western Canada. So John here from Islip, New York. A beautiful sunny day across the area. Look at those beautiful blue skies. Enjoy it, because by the end of the week, you're going to be looking at the prospect of not only that trough and low pressure kicking in from the west, but also Philippe moving up from the south. Nice captures there, John, of beautiful blue skies. And here's a quick word from my affiliate. Stay with me here. I've got plenty more weather right after this. I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code. So as we take a look at the weather pattern here for the European model, that ridge across the east and eastern Canada is going to be a fading memory as we head towards Friday into the weekend. With combining forces with what's left of Philippe here, look at this. That is the system rounding the bend. This is going to make for a terrible weekend across the east, blocking setting up over Greenland so that this system cannot move out. He's going to set up a very nasty week next week. Look at the big ridge developing out west here. And temperatures here. Look at these 80s, mid 80s, some upper 80s here into western New York. Look at these mid 80s across Michigan. This is for your Wednesday into Thursday. Yeah, look what's coming. This is that big, massive push of cold air, cool air, whatever you want to call it here. 40s and even some 50s here into parts of the Dakotas. This is going to shift to the east Friday. Look you can tell where the cold front is. This is just going to blast those 50s and 60s eastward here, maybe even some 40s here into northern Wisconsin as we get into the weekend. This is just, look at this. Most areas not getting out of the lower 50s, even some upper 40s here going on into parts of the lakes in the northeast as you get what's wrapping around here with Philippe and this massive synoptic system across eastern Canada. Look at that Sunday. Do we see a warming trend? It looks like there's some hope here as we head into Monday. It seems like we're really socked in, though. Finally getting towards the mid to upper 50s, though, but we're going to be pushing this warmer weather slowly northeastward next week. As always, thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Take a look at my Facebook page at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Hurricane Northeastern to follow the tropics. And if you want to hop over to my Twitter page, it's at Weather Eastern. It's MeteoMark.com. Thanks for joining me. Question or comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell notification button so you're alerted when a video comes out.